I guess what I feel like there's some tone in me, and
you think? You feel?
I'm not trying to be,
buddy. I had to bring Scooby-Doo out to calm this thing down.
I'm not trying to be harsh, except that I think I think some people probably need to hear it straight.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time that you're like, enough of my preferences.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go make a difference. It's time for me to step up. God is calling me to serve at my church, could be an example. God is calling me to apologize to the person. God is calling me to reconcile the relationship. Not because I prefer it, because it's biblical.
Right.
Because it's how he's moving in my life. And most oftentimes we will find it's going to take that step of humble obedience to find the breakthrough that we needed.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Cornerstone Conversations. My name is Trevor Hersey. I'm here with Pastor Josh Hersey and the one and only Mr. Dylan Parra. All right, we are talking today about purpose over preference, which nobody likes.
Nobody.
Because I was thinking about that literally when I just wrote that down. When we got in here, first thing I did was turn that AC on. Then you want to get everything set right. Because why? Because that's our preference. Yep. And I think we operate best out of that. But before we get there, I want to do a little this or that. Okay. Since we're talking about this or that kind of purpose preference, here we go. You ready? This is for both of you. All right. So y'all just answer whenever. Okay. Sweet potato or baked potato?
Baked.
Sweet.
Nice.
You go fully loaded?
I love it fully loaded. I'm a country boy, man.
It's not even. It's like a shepherd's pie at that point.
Let's go. I'll chop the whole thing up, eat the skin and everything.
I will now. If I'm doing baked potato, I'll eat the skin and all.
Yeah, man. Especially when you get it from like an Outback and it's got that big salt on it.
Outback. I haven't been Outback in a minute.
Buttery, like.
Yeah.
I haven't been
Sweet
Outback
potato,
in a minute.
do you load it up with the butter and the cinnamon and all that?
It's almost like a little dessert.
I'm down either way, honestly, but I do prefer it like that.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Cinnamon,
Yeah. I like what you did
butter.
there. I prefer it like that. I see what you did there, Dylan. I see what you did there. Purpose over preference. All right, here we go. Candy corn, yes or no?
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're not buying it, essentially.
exactly. I won't go out of my way for it, but I'll eat it.
I can eat it by the handfuls.
That's hilarious.
I seriously could eat it by the handfuls.
Interesting.
All right, here we go. Next one. You ready? Pumpkin stuff, yes or no? Like pumpkin flavored things, yes or no?
Drink?
Anything?
I'm gonna say no.
No? Wow. I didn't. When did you start hating Thanksgiving? When did that happen?
I would say I'm very 50-50 on that.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Like pumpkin pie, let's get on it.
God.
But like a pumpkin
love it.
flavored coffee or something. I'm not a big coffee
I'm not a coffee
drinker.
drinker. I literally
anyway.
drink no coffee.
I love Cuban coffee though.
I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to
It's
say.
just basically espresso.
My goodness, you're giving us like,
It's so
I'm like
good.
begging for some details here. My preference is that you give me some
little bit
details.
of that, little bit of that raw sugar in there.
Listen to you. Or do y'all go back in December? Is that right? That's cool.
Yeah, I'm not, but a team is. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
All right. I love pretty much anything pumpkin.
Okay.
And I will put this challenge out there. If you think you have the best pumpkin bread, I'd like to be the judge of that because I love pumpkin bread. Absolutely. And here's how I like it. I like it like almost sticky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it dry or I'm having to vacuum after I just cut a piece of bread. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You're like, let me have some bread. Also now it looks like I just went to Texas Roadhouse where they used to be able to throw the shells on the ground.
yeah,
Remember
I
that?
remember- I
Like, that's how I
remember
feel.
them days, yeah.
So anyhow, if you think you have some great pumpkin bread, I would love to. You can bring it to COTR and someone from the staff will text me and I'll swing by and pick it up.
That's
okay. So
true-
that's,
true
and if
statement,
it's sticky enough, it will hold till Tuesday. I can promise you. All right. So, this is
boy.
good. All right.
I'm so
You have to
nervous.
listen to one song. We're going to play Desert Island on the next episode, but we're going to kind of get to there. You have to play one song by Creed. Okay. They're kind of a Christian band.
That's me and my son and my nephew joked about this for an entire weekend in Georgia about back in the day, every single Christian.
Yes, we thought, yes.
They just called them Christian because they wanted to hear their music. And then, they're like, they said heaven. That's Christian.
Have you ever
Hilarious.
heard him, like the interview on that?
No.
I heard him, Scott Stapp or something like that. I heard him on Theo Vaughn's one. He asked him about that. He's like, yeah, he goes, I was living like hell. He goes, but he gets saved at a Benny Hinn church service in the 90s.
That, man?
Yeah, and he's got the video of it and like prophesied over about but everybody's getting prophesied over back then. They were going to the nations, but he's like, Lord, if this happens, I promise I'll sing about you.
That's pretty cool.
That's how the whole thing. So I hope you feel bad. I hope you, Carter, and Owen feel bad.
It was just
for being
hilarious.
Jerks. No, Creed. I said it big on Google. No, Creed is not a Christian rock band. All right.
Despite common misconceptions due to their spiritually tinged lyrics.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. So here's the question. You have to pick one of two songs.
Thank you. Because I'm like, I don't know.
One of two songs. Higher.
Okay.
And or Arms Wide Open, which is so funny that he brought that up in the last and he had no idea I was doing that. That is hilarious. All right. So Higher, like, can you take me higher?
Episode 3, remember? In episode 1, I said, I wonder how long it's going to take Trevor to sing.
I couldn't handle it. So you want that or with all? Now Dylan can do it better. Go ahead, Dylan. Hit us with it.
With arms wide open.
Nice. All right.
Under the sunlight.
I'm about to say the pledge just because it feels right.
All right, I'm choosing that one for that reason. I'm in on
it's a great song.
Arms Wide Open because the last episode and this one. There you go.
I was going to grab my phone to do this, but I just went with the pledge instead. It felt more natural. Okay. Gas engines or electric? Not cars. Not cars. I'm talking like tools. Sorry, I should have said that.
That's a huge difference.
I know. Sorry. As soon as I saw your face instantly, I was like, I should have put in there tools.
I am a country boy that eats baked potatoes. I will have a gas truck. Thank you. Thank you. Keep the Ford Lightnings. I'm not interested.
My neighbor has one. But so we're like battery powered tools. Where you at on that?
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Dude.
More than on a weed eater, you'd rather have a battery powered weed eater.
I do not mow my grass.
Can't hide money.
Say amen right there.
Can't hide money.
I feel like it depends, kind of, but
good answer. Good answer. I like the gas engines where there's just a little bit of a threat of somebody smoking a cigarette around you that it could just go. You know what I'm saying? If someone's got one of them cigarettes and if it could just, I don't know, that's kind of fun. But also the battery ones, man, are so simple.
It's easier.
It's easy. You're not like a million times.
Get gas and refill it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking more like circular saw, drill. I'm in the battery powered one. I mean, depending on what you're doing, circular saw will only give you so much. But if it's a quick job, let's go. That's 100%. The best way to go.
All right, last one, really quick. Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On, or It's All Coming Back to Me Now. You have to pick one forever. I swear on everything. If you get rid of the Titanic song, I will walk off this show.
That's where. All right, I'll take that one.
You don't know.
Yeah,
My Heart Will Go On. You didn't know the name of that?
No. I'll just go with that one for the sake of the Titanic.
Dylan, well, I'm just gathering myself. Which one would you go with?
I would do the same.
Thank you for that. Okay.
Pre-Titanic.
I'm borderline.
I should have chose the other one for the same reason you chose the Bills when we were kids.
Okay.
Winners?
He would have got mad either way.
Go against the grain.
I would have got mad either way. It's all coming back to me now. You ever heard that?
Yeah. I hope I don't hear it again. Actually, that's
all right. 7 minutes and 30 seconds in.
We've talked about nothing.
Purpose. We've talked about some stuff. I've got some pumpkin bread coming.
That's a good point. That's worthy.
All right. Purpose over preference. So
continuing this conversation about God being on the move, I think that it is very, very important for followers of Christ to understand you're a part of something bigger than you. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to connect into, let me back up. You follow Jesus, you follow his word, and you connect to his people. Mm-hmm. It is impossible for me scripturally to find any separation from connecting to the body of Christ. Mm-hmm. If the finger says, to the hand, I don't need you, and all that stuff, right? That's terrible because that's not what it says, but that's what it means. Like in the Bible, if one body part says, I don't need the other, like 100%, that's really makes zero sense. It makes no sense. Yeah. We all need each other. And so I think that oftentimes when, again, we're talking about God moving, the move of God in our lives, the move of God in our church. And I think oftentimes when God starts moving, it can get us uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I think when... Can
we get a little more granular there? I don't want to stop your thought process. Any
time that God is asking me, most times, that God is asking something of me, I'm like, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd really rather not.
Okay. Makes sense.
For example, I feel like I've just talked about this recently, and I hope it wasn't on the show, so forgive me if it was. But when Lauren and I started, I was 28 years old when God asked me to step into the leadership role of our church. I was a kid. I mean, it's crazy. But that's what he asked. That's what we did. And our church was very small at the time. And I remember having a job that was sustaining my family, and nobody was getting rich, but we were making a living. So I was traveling a bunch for work, and then I had to be back, obviously, and fully engaged every weekend and preach. And so in the history of our church, which was born in 1992, founded and began by Pastor Tom Outley, I've never known in the history, I started attending the church in 1999. I've never known a season or a time where the church did not host a time of prayer, like a prayer service, except for this tiny little window of time that I stepped into leadership. And again, the church was going through a lot at the time, and it was just like, hold the thing together. So pulling off a weekend was pretty good. It was a nice win for us all. And I remember a time when the Lord spoke to my heart, and he essentially said, I want you to start hosting a prayer service at the church on Wednesday nights. That sounds easy to say yes to, except I knew to say yes to that, it was going to cost me my job. Like, I have to quit because my job would take me out. I was almost never in town on a Wednesday night. And so to say yes to the Lord, I had to say no to sustainability for my family. Well, then to say yes to the Lord in that, I had to say yes to, I took 3 jobs. I basically gave up sleep for a long stretch of time. Many, many times I was the only guy there. It was just me.
For the prayer service, you
For
mean?
the prayer service. Not every time, but there were many times, like starts at 7 and there I am.
Dang.
I'm like, great. And I'd turn on the music and I would just pray. And, and Lauren's back home putting our young kids into bed and all that kind of stuff and just doing mom things. And I'm just being obedient to the Lord. That was not my preference. It wasn't my preference. I was working a job 5 nights a week that was overnight. I was working at another place in town 3 days a week, 8-hour shifts, and I was putting in 12-hour days on Wednesdays at Church on the Rock. And then I was coaching some Little League baseball stuff for my son on the weekends. And I mean, it was the toughest season of my life. And you would think when you say yes to the Lord that he would just be like, blessings. Right. We went into some financial desperation. But he asked me to lead a prayer service, and so we did. Which is why, by the way, I always tell people I never gauge the success of a prayer service by attendance, ever. Here's how you determine if a prayer service was successful. Did you pray? You win. Right. That's it. Way to go. Doesn't matter how many people are there or doing it, just do it. So oftentimes I think people want God's move and yes, Lord. And then God's like, okay, and here's what it looks like. And then we go, yeah, but now the church now it's getting a little too big. Right. It's too loud. It's too cold. I don't get to park there anymore.
I can promise you, no one has ever said that at Champion Church.
Same at Church on the Rock.
I can promise you that.
Same, especially at San Augustine High School, because we cannot control the temperature.
We can't anymore. That was a good season.
Oh, it's over?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over for us too. And so never beginning for us there. But you know what I mean? And so what can really start to happen, I think, is here's how Satan can pick people off and get them disunified and get them to be like, I'm going to move on, is because we just choose our preference over our purpose. And I just think to walk purposefully with the Lord, you're probably always going to have to die to you.
Well, Luke 9, anybody wants to follow me, Jesus says, number one thing, give up your way. Okay. Most of us are like, I'm out.
Correct.
Like, I mean, just truly, if I said this just the other day at Champion, if you're not sure, you're like, no, I'm good with all Jesus's ways. Read through the Sermon on the Mount, and which one are you like, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, read through the stuff that he commands. I mean, he clearly says, teach these new disciples to follow my commands.
That's right.
Do a simple Google search on what are the commands of Jesus.
Yes.
And which ones you like, man, I don't know. I don't know about that.
He'll say things like love your enemies.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Don't look at a woman lustfully, or you have committed adultery in your heart. That's pretty high standard. That's a lot
100%.
different than the act.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
You know, he'll say things like when you pray and when you give, you know, when you fast. Let's go there.
He says, don't serve God and money. You know, and don't worry. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Lord, what world are you living in?
Exactly.
You know,
right.
so like those things, but he's like, give up your way. And then the second thing, and for those that watch, y'all don't know, we actually recorded some of these and they got lost, right? So it didn't happen. So I'm trying to make sure I think we said this in the last one, but it didn't make air, is that he says, give up your way and pick up your cross, which to me has always been two sides of the same coin. The cross is the reason Jesus came to the earth.
That's right.
It was the purpose of why he came here.
That is right.
But it was also extremely painful for his flesh. And I think the same thing, exactly what you're saying about a prayer service, that hey, start back up the prayer service. It was purposeful, but it was extremely painful to your flesh. And I think Jesus is like, listen, you got to give up your way. And when you give up your way, you're going to find the purpose. Like, you know, that stewardship that we were talking about of the whole reason we do a podcast is not because we think we're cool and know everything. It's because we feel like God's given us stuff. We should use it to steward it.
Right.
But even this show, it's not easy for us to come in here and do this for hours on end and getting ready. You know what I'm saying? There is flesh that's being killed to do that.
Absolutely.
But there's purpose being found as well. And then Jesus says, okay, and then follow my ways.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think too, and I really hope some church people are listening in tight, because the longer you are in your church, the more about you're going to want it to become. Ooh. The longer you're there, the more about you. That's just a propensity. That's normal. So welcome to the club. You're just like everybody else. That doesn't make you bad. It makes you normal. So the longer you're there, the more you're going to be about your comforts and what you like and your preferences. But the truth of the matter is, to move purposefully, we're always going to have to get past our preferences. I mean, even as the leader of our church, there are a lot of things that don't function within my preference. But it's like,
can you give us 5?
I can give you one example.
That's not going to offend anybody.
Yeah, no. I'll do my best. Like, for example, one thing that we do every summer, we join with churches all across the country, and probably beyond, probably North America and Europe, I would guess. And we do this thing called Serve Day. Mm-hmm. And we've always done it, man. Forever we've done it. We partner with Somebody Cares, which is an organization in our community and all across the nation. We have a St. Augustine Somebody Cares, and some of my favorite people on the planet serve there. And so I love all of you if you're listening. But we've always done it as a church. And so every year, you know, our church has grown to a point now where we're usually doing 10, 12, 13 different projects and tons of volunteers, and we go out and we do the thing. Well, back in the day, all right, the good old days, man, because I did grow up around some construction, and so I have some skills that I sometimes wish I didn't have, but I have. Man, the best serve days ever. Back in the day, shout out to John Clifton if you remember the Care Fest days. You remember those?
I remember the shirts. I didn't go because I was a Christian, but I remember the shirts, yes.
Didn't go to Care Fest?
No. Okay, Lord. Forgive me. It's not my work started getting me
because you're a Christian?
When we would
unite churches across the community and serve okay, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to say comment there, but I would literally have to take it out of the podcast. So go ahead.
So
for the record, I believe in all of it. because someone there's like, this guy's a jerk.
I was thinking that he was thinking of a different fest. I'm like, hang on, there's some other fest.
Listen, I can't hit 10 out of 10 jokes, Josh. Sometimes it doesn't land.
Okay, fair.
So while you're saying that, I'll just bring him back.
There you go. So we used to do the same. All right, back in the day, I used to throw on a tool belt, bring all my tools, and I would get to like build a wheelchair ramp or build a deck for somebody. I got to sweat it out with a team.
Right. Really, you feel like you're really making a difference. Is that what you're saying? Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like my good friend who I love so much, Miguel. Our friendship was born on a serve day.
That's cool.
And him and his wife, they were dating at the time. And there's a whole story about
a date to go to a serve day.
Dude, their story
That's what
is
some of you single people
so
need to
good.
do.
Their story is
Just
so good.
go
The first,
sweat out
all
here.
right, first place they ever went to on a date was our church.
My God.
Killer, man. It's killer. Anyway, shout out Miguel and Donna. Love y'all.
Damn, what a date.
And so, like, those were the days, man. I loved it so much. Now, it's a little there. It's like my responsibility is to bounce around and high five and do the whole kiss babies thing and all that stuff. And it makes sense. It is important. I do enjoy seeing teams and engaging with our partners. I get to have some really good conversations with our partners and talk a little bit more about needs and hear about things and see progress. It is very fruitful. It's very meaningful. I love seeing as many people that are serving on that day as possible. It is so much fun. But if you were to ask me my preference, I just want to spend 5 hours with my tool belt on, doing a job, because that's what I prefer, but purpose over preference. And so I think that too many people get into a mindset of consumerism. They get into the church and now, well, it's different now. And I remember when, and well, when we only had one service, and Champion Church is going to face this soon. And maybe I'm speaking things that Trevor doesn't even want to hear. But I remember when we used to do one service and I could just see everybody, and now we're in two and I never get to see blah, blah, blah. And if you're not careful, what you'll do is make it about you when the purpose is to reach people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And because the room is full and Champion Church is packing it out.
Yeah.
Sunday after Sunday after Sunday now.
Yeah.
Guess what? The purpose is to advance the gospel. And so if every seat is, you know who loves full rooms? Preachers.
Amen, brother.
You know who doesn't? The people coming.
100%.
I don't want to sit by you.
Man.
I'm trying to worship, and it's like, well, I can only hold the TV because he's all the way up there doing touchdown, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? You ever heard that joke? Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's like I'm not comfortable. And then if you start to look around, it's like, how could I invite my friend?
Right.
There's not room for my friend.
Especially at Champion. Parking's weird. You have to go down, make a U-turn, go left, go halfway right. Please don't run over a basketball and or a child.
Yes. And
and you might get locked in a gate downtown.
That's a further point right there. Who wants to be on a parking team in Florida in August?
Who wants to load in 189 chairs every single? Boy, I feel God speaking. And any of my team that's watching is like, yes. Amen.
Yes, they are. Any of our team that's watching right now. So like, and maybe I'm soapboxing here, which Miguel actually made me a soapbox. I should give you a picture of that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
hilarious. Yeah. It's hilarious. Anyway, and maybe I'm soapboxing here, but I don't know anybody on our serve team who doesn't have a job, kids, a life. They have this whole thing that they are doing and living that comes with stress and pressure and the reality of just life is what life is. And yet they will show up. They will put the purpose of God in their life over the they would probably prefer to roll in about 3 minutes in to song one, which means it's about over. Try to slide into a seat somewhere. Yep. Worship a little bit, hear a good word, say amen once or twice, go to lunch.
100%.
Probably the best thing for them and their weekend.
Like an amazing Sunday.
Except it probably isn't the best thing for them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. No,
because the purpose of serving someone else, like it's one thing to eat at a table, it's another thing to serve at the table.
You know what? Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I didn't catch
That's it. I mean, so again, I guess what I feel like there's some tone in me. And
you think? You feel?
I'm not trying to be...
Buddy, I had to bring Scooby-Doo out to calm this thing down.
I'm not trying to be harsh, except that I think... except that I think some people probably need to hear it straight.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time that you're like, enough of my preferences.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go make a difference. It's time for me to step up. God is calling me to serve at my church, could be an example. God is calling me to apologize to the person. God is calling me to reconcile the relationship. Not because I prefer it, because it's biblical.
Right.
Because it's how he's moving in my life. And most oftentimes we will find that it's going to take that step of humble obedience to find the breakthrough that we needed.
I'm going to breathe in like you say I do. I was thinking about this. Luke 5. They've been fishing all night, right? Very familiar story. They're fishing all night. and they come back, they've caught nothing.
Oh, I love it. I know where you're headed.
Which I've had those days.
Yes.
Right? Where I'm like going out fishing and you have those days. Joe Cordo knows exactly what I'm talking about. Also, shout out to Carla and Joe that do all of our wheelchair ramps and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
They show up all the time. The first one's there on a Sunday setting up. I used to try to race her there, and I was like, I don't know how long we're going to be in this school, so she can beat me. So like, I'm like, love you, Carla. But anyhow, Luke 5, they've been fishing all night. Jesus says, hey, let me use your boat.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter, it was like he's got to be like, I think sometimes even the gospel writers, they can't write every single detail, but Peter's human. We see that through him multiple times. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm exhausted. I've been working all night. He goes out and does it. And then he says, hey, Jesus says, let's go a little bit deeper. Cast your net. He goes, I've done this, but at your word,
dude,
I'll do it.
Yeah, man.
And it's a huge, and then it's a huge, you know, they bring in all this stuff and they can't do it. And it's
they got to call another boat. Hey, come help us.
Call other people. Yeah. And then the biggest thing I always take is this. When you get involved in God's business, he gets involved in yours. And I believe that to my core. I believe that when you get involved in his business, he gets involved in yours. And yes, it might be serving at a church, but it could be the thing where he's like, you know, you need to forgive that person, or you know, you need to trust me here, or you know, you need to start doing devos with your family, or you need to spend that time with whatever, you know, you need to, you know, hey, let's work on this thing that's been a thorn in your flesh for the last 10 years. Let's work on this now that's getting involved in God's business. And the same way for us, loading in chairs, shout out, are amazing for me. I just want to say, thank you guys. I load in every single week. Sweating. Dylan's there every time, sweating, frustrated. Something's wrong. Something's going off, but we still do it with joy. We still do it with all that. You get involved in God's business, he gets involved in yours.
Yes. I love the Luke 5 conversation because let's break that down a little bit. Here comes Jesus, who is starting to gain some reputation. He's known. People are following him. There was such a crowd. This is why he was like, you know what? If I can get on the boat, and I've seen the Sea of Galilee. I've been on it. I've stood on the shoreline. And for a dude, I'm digressing here, but for a dude that is not about water, it is one of my favorite places on the planet. I can't even explain it. It makes no sense, but man, I feel every time I was there and in our trip, I think we went in 2018. We were there multiple times. I can feel God. Wow. It is crazy to me, man. But anyway, so I've seen it, and there's this cool reality that if you're on that water in certain spots, the way the hills are around it, the acoustics.
Right.
So now people can hear him.
Yep.
So he's just being who he is, who's awesome. But if you think about it, Peter does not know him yet.
Good point.
So okay,
he's not called him. That's
from a humanistic point of view, at worst, Jesus is a carpenter. At best, he's a rabbi. Okay?
Ooh.
And then the Bible's, it says it right there in Luke 5, that they're washing their nets after fishing all night. They're cleaning it up.
Yeah.
And from a guy that gets accused, and probably some truth in having some obsessive compulsive things and liking my things very particular ways, at the point that I'm at cleanup, I'm not trying to get this stuff dirty again. There's probably a ton of work in that.
100%.
And then Jesus is like, hey, can I just use your boat? That was probably an easy thing to say yes to. Like, all right, I'll push you out a little bit. I wonder. I'm speculating completely.
Right.
Is Peter like holding the boat while Jesus is teaching? I have because he pushes the boat out a little bit. Maybe they anchored off. I have no idea.
Right,
I mean,
that's a good point.
Obviously, they're sophisticated enough to have an anchor, but nonetheless, is Peter hearing his teaching? And then again, at work. Now I'm saying from a humanistic point of view, I'm trying to be the people on the shoreline, not know it from my lens in scripture.
Right.
At worst, carpenter tells a professional fisherman, you should go out a little deeper. I mean, the eye roll temptation there is just like, are you kidding me? Okay, and at best, a rabbi, neither of which
would know professional fishing.
Hello.
You know the difference between a professional fisher and a regular fishing person?
No, but I love it.
The professional one knows how to catch fish when nobody else is catching fish.
Okay,
even more.
That's a great point. I thought you were coming up with a joke here, but that's a solid point. No, I thought
being sarcastic and
I
saying
thought
something
you were setting
ridiculous
us up
and
for a joke.
ruining the moment. No, absolutely not.
That's even more context that I hadn't even thought about. And then Jesus says,
I love that story.
Push that thing out a little bit further and let down those nets you just cleaned. And now that it's daytime and you were fishing all night, there's a reason it's so counterintuitive.
Right.
And the point is exactly that Peter says, at your word.
Yeah, I love that part.
At your word.
I love that he's honest too. He's not just like, yes, sir. You know, like he's like, we've been doing
all
night long. And I just, for me, that's freeing.
It's
because I'm afraid if I'm honest with God sometimes, even though I preach against this, like be honest, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes like, if I'm a little honest, I'm like, God, this friggin' sucks.
Yeah.
That I'm getting hit with a lightning bolt. But Peter's like, we've done it. But okay, at your word.
At your word. And something is happening in Peter's heart there, because then they take in this catch that is supernatural. Mm-hmm. It's the power of God, and he's seeing God at work. And then he's like, hey, I'm about to make you a fisherman of something different. Mm-hmm. And then purpose comes in to his life. And so what I'm trying to communicate about purpose over preference is all the times that we will push back on God's move in our lives because it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't prefer this. I don't want it to be this way. And if we are removing ourselves from a people of God because of our preferences, then we're probably really going to miss the purpose of God too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because
100%.
like it's too big, it's too small. Listen.
People are messy too, man. But so are all of us are.
Yes.
All right. I mean, that's just a reality.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite sayings is this: everywhere you go, there you are. So if there's always a particular problem, like it might be you. And then here's the reality: we're all broken. That's why I love to tell our church as often as I can. I like to hit something that's pretty like normal, that somebody's probably feeling like, oh man, it's me. And like, guess what? You're like the rest of us.
100%.
Because the truth is, we're probably all battling the same kind of thoughts and temptations and stupidity and the whole thing. Like, we're just people.
Right.
And 100% of us have issues. And so the more we can get away from letting our preferences rule and letting purpose rule, then there's this thing, I can't explain it, but there's this exchange of like, I responded to the Lord, and yet he did something. It's greater than happiness. It's greater than comfort. Yeah. It's greater than the next toy or a vacation. It gives you something that things can't give you. There's this like deep fulfillment from the God of the universe that only he can give you. And I just think there's sometimes where he's like, if you would just trust me.
Yeah.
Man, all right, let's do another one real quick.
Okay.
All right. The wedding at Cana.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love this so much,
John chapter
man.
2, yeah.
And so here's Jesus, and he's at this wedding. And if you know the story, and it's very popular, a lot of people do, if you're like a church person or a Bible person, they run out of wine. Mm-hmm. And then Mary comes to Jesus and she's like, Jesus, they ran out of wine. And then he says what's probably super relieving to her, like, it's not my time.
Right.
She's probably like, thank God. Because she knows. I think she's very aware of who her son is and who he's going to be. And so he basically is like, why are you telling me? I mean, essentially.
Yeah, it's not my problem.
Then she doesn't respond to Jesus. She turns to the servants and she's like, just do whatever he tells you to do.
Right.
And I'm just saying right now, that should just be us. Just do whatever he tells you to do. And then he starts telling them things that make no sense. And if you understand the context, if you know what's going on, everything Jesus asks them to do doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But they do it. And a miracle happens. This is true for us. This is true for us. And I would just I'm challenging myself, man, because I feel like God will always be calling us to greater levels of sacrifice.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. When you were telling the story, I know it wasn't on camera that much, I literally wrote down to ask the listener, what is he asking you to do? And then you said that when he tells the servants, go do it. Or go do whatever he says.
Because in our church, we're asking the fundamental question of our discipleship journey is this: am I trusting God to lead me forward in his will, or am I trusting my own way?
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's with the listener. This might be one of my favorite episodes we've done. Because you have to ask yourself, what is he asking me to do? Like, what is he asking me to do? Sometimes, man, it's stuff that's cool. Like we talked in the last episode about we're just doing this because we feel like this is what we're supposed to do and steward what God has given us to be able to do. But sometimes it's not sexy like this. You know what I'm saying? Right. Sometimes it's not. but it still is worth it. There's still blessings on the back. It's the prayer service that nobody's coming to.
That's what I was about to say.
You know what I'm saying? Like
every
it's not,
overnight success probably took 15, 20 years to create.
I mean, even look at this one. Like also, we didn't say this on any of the ones. The people that came up at Accelerate and said, just gave us great feedback on the show. Thank you guys. Y'all have no idea how encouraging that was. But we started over here with horrible lights and just like, hey, let's shoot 2 and see what happens.
Yeah.
It wasn't sexy. It wasn't any, you know what I'm saying? I think maybe there's 700 and some people that watched, and we even tried to advertise it. Nobody wanted to watch it.
Why would they?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was, and I'm just using that as an example, but there's been 1,000 other things of like, for step into a leadership role of a church, start a church. And my whole thing was like, why? There's a lot of really good ones. Why do we need another one? But it was stepping in it, and then God shows you your place in it. It's the same with you that's listening. Every single person, no matter where you're at, there's something He's asking you to do. I promise you it's not going to be your preference. I guarantee you it won't, but there is purpose in it. I mean, was the cross His preference? There's no way. There's no way.
Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, He asked God, is there another way?
Yeah.
If there's any other way. So he asked the question, am I the only way? Right. This is what Jesus himself asked the question. And the answer is yes.
Yep.
So he's like, if there's any way this cup of suffering can pass before me, I'd take that one. Not my will, but yours be done. Yep. And then Jesus surrendered his life to the cross. Nobody took it. He gave it up for us.
Yep.
And he chose that purpose over his preference. I cannot imagine. I mean, the Bible talks about him sweating drops of blood, which there is a medical explanation for that. I'm not
stress or something like
that,
right? Yeah,
like I am not smart enough to fully understand, but it's stress induced.
Right. If I get stressed, my stomach just does like backflips.
So, yeah. The other day, I'm in the woods with Carter, and we're getting a tree stand set up, and this giant like vine that has these pretty healthy sized thorns on it. That sucker, man, it stuck me right in my knuckle right here.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, dude, listen, it hurt. Okay. I would like to act tough. It hurt. And so, and it got me in a couple spots on my finger right there. And then it hurt for like days after. And I said to Carter in real time, because it's like I did one of those like snatch my hand, like I didn't know it was there, and and he's like, what happened? I was like, man, that thorn right there stuck me. And then I told him, I was like, it makes me think of the cross.
Yeah.
As stupid as this sounds, it just makes me think of the cross, because I'm like, I just took a couple thorns to my finger.
Right.
They shoved way bigger thorns than this in the head of our Savior.
Yeah.
Plus the whip.
Right.
Plus the ripping out of his beard and the punch him in his face.
The nails, all of that.
Plus the nails and that rugged cross and the spear and the whole thing. I mean, it made me grateful.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a couple scratches. I think I'm going to be okay.
But I mean, at 1 John 2:6, those that say they live in God should live their life as Christ did. Not that we're out beating our flesh up, you know what I'm saying? But our selfishness, that stuff, like, I don't know. Even the more we're having this conversation, it's like I'm trying to, in my own mind, I'm trying to justify any type of comfort as a Christian. And
there's tons of it. In my own life, there's tons of it.
Right. And I'm just like, man, there's a lot of denying and killing of flesh. But there's purpose on the other side.
Yes.
That he endured the cross because of the joy that was set before him. There is stuff on the other side. There is the grace to get through it, but it's not going to feel great, man. It's just really not. And I think that's just one of the biggest things for me as a disciple of Christ, man. Give up your way.
Yes.
Give up your way.
Yes.
Take up the cross and then follow him. And then in that moment, we can keep going. If we have to break this into 2.
Yeah. Just be willing to do hard things. I'm such a storyteller.
No, go for it.
You will remember this, though.
Okay.